I mean, all I can say is the wokey, obviously, is, and being married to an immigrant, somebody that his parents fled war in Myanmar, is that if you were desperate, you would get on that boat with your children. I'm sorry, but you would. Any of you
No, children aren't staying up. They're all military-aged men, economic migrants.
You don't come from Switzerland or France or Germany and be desperate to escape war.
But Renee, look, the reason people end up here is because they've already been told they're not going to be allowed to settle in wherever they end up, like France. That's the deal.
Yes, then?
Because it's about empathy, humanity, caring.
What about empathy?
Wouldn't you want someone to try and save you if you were desperate?
What about the empathy, humanity and caring for the people here?
We've got enough to go around if we only distribute it properly.
Nikki, you've just been saying that you're deeply worried, right, about violence against women.
Of course,
well, what about
by
the violence
all kinds
that's
of
been
men
committed against women by the boat people who've arrived here?
Well, you know what, actually, and I've said this before on this channel multiple times, if you've really got an issue with that, then just stop young men coming in.
Alright guys, so before we get into this video of this woke lefty demanding that the UK take in more mass immigrants, we need to touch up on a few things. Number one, a large portion of refugees coming over, a large portion, not all, are economic migrants. They are not fleeing persecution in their respective countries. They are economic migrants, and I've covered this in a few videos ago with Madapasa, the case of Madapasa, where he was in Sweden and he was basically saying, hey, I fancy a change of scenery. I fancy going over to the United Kingdom to become a star. And whilst I'm there, well, I'm going to TikTok everything, and I'm going to tell Nigel Farage, head of the Reform Party, not to speak about me because I'll be over there soon. And if I see you, I'm going to murder you, is what he said, which is his catchphrase. So subsequently to him making threats, we've seen him advance over, and before actually crossing the channel, he was held up by a checkpoint where he flashed a gun. So that was very, very worrying. Number two, we've seen a huge change in culture. How do we know this? Because one of the most common names in the United Kingdom is Mohammed. So that is one of the most common names for males in the UK. In addition to that, I've covered it a few videos ago. We've seen that there is no respect for religious establishments, i.e. Christianity. We've seen that Muslims are adamant on converting churches to mosques. They want to do that. They don't want to buy up a property and convert that to a mosque. They don't want to get planning permission to erect mosques. No, there is a reason and there is an agenda as to why they have to buy churches and convert them to mosques. What they're trying to do essentially is show that Islam is the most dominant religion in the United Kingdom and no one can do anything about that. Islam is here to stay. And on the contrary, we see that in Saudi Arabia that there is not even one church, not even one church is erected for expatriates. So that is just insane. And it goes to show how tolerant the UK is, having over 1,500 mosques, and they're pushing for more mosques at the expense of churches, how tolerant the UK is and how intolerant a lot of countries are in the Middle East. And we see that as well with a lot of Christians being persecuted in the Middle East. So let's get straight into the content anyway, guys. She's going to be talking about why the UK just need more migration, more mass migration.
Illegal immigration shouldn't even be an issue. You should be able to secure your border. That number should be zero. How this has somehow become combined with racism, combined with the idea of multiculturalism, it's a separate debate.
Agreed.
I mean, all I can say is the wokey, obviously, is, and being married to an immigrant, somebody that his parents fled war in Myanmar, is that if you were desperate, you would get on that boat with your children. I'm sorry, but you would.
Children aren't staying up. They're all military-aged men, economic migrants.
You don't come from Switzerland or France or Germany and be desperate to escape war.
But Renee, look, the reason people end up here is because they've already been told they're not going to be allowed to settle in wherever they end up, like France. That's the deal.
Yes, then?
Because it's about empathy, humanity, caring.
What about empathy?
Wouldn't you want someone to try and save you if you were desperate?
What about the empathy, humanity and caring for the people here?
We've got enough to go around if we only distribute it properly.
Nikki, you've just been saying that you're deeply worried, right, about violence against women.
Of course,
well, what about
by
the violence
all kinds
that's
of
been
men
committed against women by the boat people who've arrived here?
Well, you know what, actually, and I've said this before on this channel multiple times, if you've really got an issue with that, then just stop young men coming in. Only have women and
But
children
it's 90% men that are coming in. And Darren...
Single men, yes.
Look, it's costing this country $5.4 billion to house these people, give them health care and fully support asylum seekers. Now,
but we can't keep our pensioners...
Exactly that. We can't even give our pensioners £300, which was $1.4 billion, I believe, per year. Yeah. So this problem is a huge one, and taxpayers and people that I speak to are sick of it.
But there is no solution to immigration. It's one of those political problems we will debate forever and ever and ever because it's just a fact of life.
There's a solution to illegal. There's a solution to illegal immigration.
Yeah.
It really annoys me that this is somehow a difficult challenge for us to solve. Australia did solve it in the early 2010s.
And left loads of people in the water drowning, yes.
No, in the long term, it creates a deterrent which stops people from drowning because less people get on rickety boats.
In the process.
No, less people get on rickety boats. This is the safer option for people.
200 people have died trying to cross the channel in the last 5 years. Let's not forget that. I'm not blaming the migrants, I'm blaming the system. As soon as they know they're going to get free everything, they're going to come. It's the system that needs to change.
And if you were coming from a war-torn country with a dictator, you would do exactly
the same. This characterisation is just wrong. Most of them are economic migrants coming from safe countries. We know that. That's a fact.
Why wouldn't you just turn up at that embassy of the country you want to go to and claim asylum
there? Because what if it's Britain and you already speak English because it's the global language of the world?
Well, tough
but if they were... If they were coming from a war-torn country where they would be granted asylum, they wouldn't throw their passports overboard because they wouldn't have to. But
they don't have any documentation, lots of them.
Oh, they do. They throw it overboard.
Look, Darren, we need mass deportations. That is the only way we're going to solve this problem, or turn around the boats like Australia did and Greece did. They might have got raps on the knuckles, but that's all that happened.
Andrea has a question for you, Adam. She says, she puts it to you and Nikki. She says, why do these men leave their women and kids behind?
Exactly.
Well, they're single men. They don't leave women and kids behind. They're young men with no
If there was a war in the UK, I would not leave my wife and my children to be at risk.
But they're not often married. That's
with
just a misnomer, sorry. That's not factually accurate.
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't risk their lives coming over the channel in the first place in a small little dinghy.
But that tells you about something.
We've seen young children die.
The trampling of that child as well, the toddler.
Okay, so just to conclude, we've seen some good pushback comments to the woke lefty demanding that the UK take in more mass immigrants. The winter fuel payment was slashed. They axed the winter fuel payment, which was a subsidised payment for the elderly in the United Kingdom, which would protect them in these cold winter months. That was slashed, and that was 1.4 billion annually, and they've literally cut that. We've seen that the people in the United Kingdom have not been prioritized. In addition to that, we've seen that, immigrants are incentivized to come over because of what they will receive upon arrival. So we've clearly seen a neglect for the people in the United Kingdom, and we've seen this love, loyalty package for everyone else. Even Keir Starmer has pledged annually that Ukraine will be receiving £3 billion annually. And we saw about 1-2 months ago, David Lammy made his first payment from the Labour Party to the Kiev regime of £600 million. So we've clearly seen that the British people have been abandoned and everyone else has been welcomed with open arms. Immigrants, you're welcome. Ukraine, you're welcome. Everyone is welcome, but people in the United Kingdom, you're neglected. Even the elderly can't even get 1.4 billion annually as a subsidized payment for these cold approaching months. So guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We've clearly seen a neglect of British people, and she's advocating for more mass immigration to come over. If the UK had everything in check, then that is a conversation to have. But when we've just seen a very rocky 2024 as it relates to social cohesion, tensions, riots, anger, animosity, just to welcome more people over that do not understand British values and laws, commit crimes. Not all, but a lot do commit crimes, because what is accepted back home where they're from, maybe in the Middle East, wherever, is not accepted in the UK. But they don't know that because they don't have enough time to assimilate and understand British culture, and they literally just come over and they're being given everything. So they're like, okay, cool, I can do what I want, essentially. So that's what we've clearly been seeing. Not all immigrants, but we've seen a percentage of immigrants behave in that way. So yeah, but anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.